Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 22nd through September 4th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Looking for these better days.
It is Wednesday, August 20th. I'm Scott Seidenberg, and here's what you need to know to make today a better day. The Colts named Daniel Jones as their starting quarterback, while the Saints say the competition is still open. Plus a big night on the diamond for Better Day subscribers. More on that coming up in just a bit. But we welcome into the podcast for the first of what will be many co-hosting appearances here on Better Day, the one and only Mackenzie Rivers. That's right, you asked, and we teased it, but he's here. What's up, Mac?
What is up? It is an honor to be on the third edition of Better Day.
Episode.
Let's go. I was a little jealous of Jared for grabbing the first two episodes, but I think he's a great addition. I've heard him for a while, and I hope to provide those listeners some winning bets like we always do, you and me.
Absolutely. And Jared, the plan's going to be Jared will most likely do the, Monday morning, Friday morning episodes during football season. We'll talk a lot of college football with Jared on Fridays, obviously, because he's big on college football, but he's very good on the NFL. Mac, you'll join in. We'll have some three-way episodes. Also, plenty more special co-hosts to come here on the Better Day podcast.
Some industry professionals. Don't even have to give their names, just industry professionals coming in to join us.
So make sure you are subscribing to the podcast wherever you get your pods from. We got them on Apple, on Spotify, it's on iHeart, on Amazon. So search for Better Day, BETTOR, Better Day, and get this pod wherever you get your pods from. Subscribe, rate, review, goes a long way into helping us grow. And as always, please check out the website, betterday.com, where we have content for you every single day, including our daily email newsletter, which goes out to subscribers. It is free to sign up, and by being a member, you will have access to the picks page where you can follow along and track where we went 5-0 last night, Mackenzie, in Major League Baseball. Now, that's not going to happen every single night. But so far on the Better Day page, and for Better Day subscribers, again, free, Better Day subscribers that get the picks in their emails with the daily newsletter, it's gotten off to a pretty good start. So we're happy about the results here so far. Let's
you're flipping coins.
Yeah.
You're flipping coins. This should happen once every 32 days about. So, first time, let's go.
All right, well, let's start with the football news. Daniel Jones is going to be the starting quarterback for week one at least for the Indianapolis Colts. And then you have Anthony Richardson's agent coming out and saying, oh, well, there's trust issues between the organization and my client. Sure. First off, the only trust issues should be between Chris Ballard and, whoever advised him to draft Anthony Richardson in the first place. I think we all can agree, at least I'm not going to put words in your mouth, Mac, but I believe that this was a massive failure by the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson had one season as a starting quarterback in college, one starting season at Florida. And in that starting season, he completed less than 60% of his passes, 53.8% of his passes, 17 touchdowns to 9 interceptions. He did rush for 9 scores, but it's college football, and we know how athletic Anthony Richardson is. College quarterbacks do run for touchdowns. But since when does a guy that throws for 53.8% completion percentage, 17 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions in his only season as a starter become the 4th overall pick in the NFL draft? It made no sense. And he was a combine athlete, freak monster that showed everybody his athleticism. So what? They call it the Underwear Olympics for a reason. This was a failure by the Colts organization, and it's about time that they are acknowledging it.
Are they acknowledging it? They are sticking to the course of saying, he's still part of the Colts' future just because he's not our starter. He's still XYZ years old. More than one thing can be true. The quarterback position is by far the most athletic that it's ever been. You look at all the best quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels coming up, Justin Herbert. They're all freakish with their tools. So it would make sense that the most athletic prospect we've ever seen deserves a chance. But now this is 0-2, two big swings on quarterbacks with very little experience. Of course, I'm talking about Trey Lance and Anthony Richardson. And I think savvy is undefeated. The best quarterbacks, yes, they're more athletic than ever, but they're savvy and they're poised. And he had the most yards per completion of any quarterback in the NFL, but it's not something as a coach you can bank on. You don't bank on big plays. Those are gravy. You got to move the sticks, on third down and in less than that, hopefully. So, I mean, I think it's a guy coaching for his job. He has to win 8 games, nine
Yes.
games to be in Indianapolis, and this is probably the safer pick if that's your goal.
100%. And he has to win games. Like it's no doubt Shane Steichen is on the hot seat right now in his early tenure here in Indy. And understandably, the whole organization is going through a transition, obviously, with the untimely passing of Jim Irsay. There's just change going throughout the entire organization.
Hmm. Hmm.
But now is the time where Shane Steichen needs to earn his job for the 2026 season. And right now, Daniel Jones, say what you will about him, gives you a better chance to win football games than Anthony Richardson. And that is the decision that the football people are making, not the business people, not about selling tickets, not about being flashy. It is about winning football games. And a couple of things stand out to me. We know about Anthony Richardson's turnover history, right? He just gives the ball to the other team way too much. And there
Yep.
was there was the incident last year where he took himself out of the game after a long
Yep.
scramble that may or may not have lost the locker room, right? Joe Flacco had to take over. And then look at what happened in the preseason. On the play that he broke his finger, everyone said, well, oh, it was a blown blocking assignment and they allowed a free rusher. But if you watch some football people
Hmm.
that we all respect, the Brian Baldingers of the world, the Jeff Schwartzes, the guys that, break down the film on Twitter for their audience, they all will show you that Anthony Richardson made the mistake on that play, that he switched to the wrong blocking assignment, that he didn't realize that there was a free rusher, that he didn't pass to his hot route. And it was the quarterback's fault, more so than anything, the reason why he got sacked. And I think that there's obviously a learning curve that he is not up to snuff with right now.
Yeah, and it's not surprising. I mean, you look at another quarterback battle going on right now with Spencer Rattler, who had a lot of tools and in college was for a while the favorite to be the number one all pick. The difference is we saw those mistakes in college. We had enough tape, we had enough
Mm-hmm.
sample size to, kind of pick out the wheat from the chaff. And he went sixth round, and he may be a starter one day, and so may Anthony Richardson. But I think that one play does encapsulate it because not only did he make the wrong read, not only did he not find his hot route, not only did not take an 8 yard gain, instead taking a turnover worthy play and losing, even if he didn't fumble 8 yards, he got injured. And that's been
Yeah.
his bugaboo. He actually has an 8-7 record somehow in the NFL. But if you eliminate the 3 games where he played a quarter or less and then left, he has a 5-7 record. So 3 of those wins came when Gardner Minshew or Joe Flacco came in off the bench and got him wins. I think that's pretty telling that he hasn't even finished, 80% of his starts currently in the NFL. Who knows what's going to, be in his future?
So the last data that I saw, and I'm trying to find some updated data, so I'm not going to give you like the exact numbers because this data I think is only through. Well, actually, no. I think it's through last season. I think we might have a full season last year. But if you look at turnover-worthy play rate, Anthony Richardson going back the past 2 seasons since he's been in the NFL. I know his rookie year he didn't play that much. It was only a handful of games, but he is third in the NFL in turnover worthy play rate amongst quarterbacks. Third.
I'm surprised he's not first. Yeah, it's better
Yeah.
than I thought.
Well, I think it's Mac Jones and Skylar Thompson rank a little bit higher than him.
Okay, all right. So out of the hundreds of quarterbacks that have seen some snaps, all right, that
Yes.
does make sense.
Yeah.
Warren Sharp also had a great stat. If you look at downfield passes of more than 7 yards, when you're not pressured, so not when you miss a blitz and the guy's in your face, but when you're not pressured, just how accurate are you down the field? He was 38% when the league average was over 60%. He's like he was as a prospect. He's an amazing athlete who might have a future doing something, maybe fullback in the NFL. But there's no reason why you would risk your job if you're Shane Steichen on this prospect. now that you have, a $14 million, a solid guy that's won 24 games in the NFL, and Daniel Jones.
So let's talk about the Colts season now. Their win total is at 7.5. What's your thoughts on the win total now that we know that it's Daniel Jones starting at
See,
quarterback?
this is why you got to listen to betterday.com, because if you go to Sports Illustrated, God bless them, Ian McMillan had this article about how they went from plus 300 to plus 310, or plus 310 to plus 300. So that's slight improvement. That is noise. That doesn't mean anything. Their win total went from 7.5 to 7.5. That is literally nothing. What that tells you is the market had a really good suspicion that if Daniel Jones wasn't a starter week one, they were very uncertain of who was the starter going to be. Now that it's Daniel Jones, it doesn't move much in their season prospects. But if you look at week one, the Colts were a +1 dog or a pick 'em all the way up until yesterday, and now they're 1.5 point favorites. Some places had popped up -1 previously, but essentially from pick 'em to -1.5. 90% of that's Daniel Jones. And the 10% was the people that knew about Daniel Jones before it was official. So I think there's some reason to believe that, like you said, if you want to win games today, never mind what the potential is, Daniel Jones your better choice. And that's why the Sharps got down when you could still get him as a slight underdog.
Yeah, I completely agree there. So again, yeah, that's an interesting line here. -1.5 against the Dolphins. I'm down on the Dolphins this year, as I believe a lot of people are, Mackenzie.
Yeah. Is this
But
a loser leaves town match in week one? I
yeah,
mean, this
yeah,
is a big
exactly.
game.
But that being said, I don't think that I don't think the Colts are going to have a good season. I think that I would go under the 7.5. Now it's the NFL; anything can happen. And I do think that division is more open than we think. I don't think it's all of a sudden. I don't think it's just what we, I guess, or what the majority feel, which is that the Texans are just going to repeat and be the division winners. Like I think the Titans will be better with Cam Ward. Maybe not 9 wins, but I do think that they're going to be a competent team. And I
Yep.
think the Jaguars take a step forward. Trevor Lawrence has a quarterback, offensive guru, head coach now, and Travis Hunter's going to have an impact on that team. They have a ridiculous top 5, maybe wide receiver in the NFL in Brian Thomas. So I think that the Jaguars are going to be good. I think if I was making a bet right now, I would bet the Colts to finish 4th in their division. How about
I don't,
that?
I don't hate that at all, because if you look at the Jaguars and the Titans, they were probably the two teams that underperformed their statistics last year. With the Jaguars, there was a lot of third down plays. People talked about the play caller and different choices they were making there. And with the Titans, we know what it was. It was pick sixes and fumble sixes like every game. Just look at week one with the Bears. They dominated that game and somehow lost in historic fashion. So if those two teams regress, I think the Texans are likely to be middling, if not good, like most people expect. They'll probably at least be middling. I think that's a good bet there if we get decent odds. I'm sure. What I mean, did you see odds on that?
Yep, on FanDuel right now, plus 280 for the Colts to finish 4th in their division. Now it's plus
I love that bet.
230. It's plus 230 for the Colts to finish 3rd in the division. I think you split your bet because they're not going to finish 1st. They're not going to win the division, and I don't think they're going to finish 2nd in the division. So you got, and look, they're plus 300 to win the division and plus 280 to finish 4th. You want to talk about variance? That's
a wide open division.
It could be anywhere, but I would go plus 280 on the Colts to finish 4th in the AFC South. That would be my prediction.
The worry there is the Titans for the 4th spot, so you kind of hedge off that. But our friend Steve Fezzik says the Titans are going to win the division, so pencil that in. It's going to happen.
Here's let's see, on the AFC South exact finishing order. Okay, if we go Jaguars, I'm going to do this.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to go Jaguars 1, Texans 2. Okay, so that's Jaguars 1, Texans 2, Titans 3, and Colts 4. That payout is plus 1,700. Now, if you do it the other way and you do Texans first, Jaguars second, and then Titans and the Colts plus 1,200. So how about that? Instead of plus 280, for the Colts to finish fourth. Now I know it's a lot more things that have to happen, but
Right.
if I believe that it's going to be Titans 3 and Colts 4, it's plus 1,700 or plus 1,200. I don't necessarily think these are great bets, but they're fun.
Yeah,
They're fun to talk about.
yeah, they're fun to sprinkle some on. I do think there's more value with Colts under 7.5 or Colts
Sure.
plus 280. Because I'd be worried. I'm not sure the Texans are much better than the Titans. I mean, statistically, if you take the quarterback out
Mm,
of it, I wouldn't be shocked if the Colts or if the Titans finish, second and the Texans third. It wouldn't shock me, or first or second, any of that.
yeah. All right. Well, how about we stick in that division for a moment before we get into the Saints quarterback stuff? Because I do have odds. There is odds on who's going to be the
Oh
starting
yeah,
quarterback.
that's something we did mention. Richardson was minus 200 all up until this
Yeah.
week to be the starter. The conventional wisdom was the younger player is going to get a chance, but that
hmm
shows you how definitive it was to try to win games now.
So the Texans in week 1 play against the Los Angeles Rams. And you guys know I've come out, I've already said it many times that I think Matthew Stafford doesn't play in that game. And so the Texans went from a 3-point dog to a 2.5-point dog. And then I said, hey, if you can get the Texans at plus 3, I would jump back in and take the Texans plus 3 if you can, because I do believe, or at least my thought was, Stafford's not going to play in that game. Well, Mac, we might get our chance because it's still 2.5 right now, but Matthew Stafford practiced for the second straight day. And Sean McVay came out and said he looked good, he felt good, everything's looking good. I still think there's a chance that he misses the game, but the more time that Stafford practices, and the more maybe the betting public or others get, just the idea that he's healthy enough to play in week number 1, I think this line goes back up to Rams minus 3, and then I would be interested in getting the Texans plus the points.
It's really interesting that it moved all the way down. I mean, we talk about movement, like going from the Colts as plus 1 dogs to minus 1.5 favorites is a less size of a move than the Rams here going from minus 3 to minus 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
And allegedly, if you listen to Sean McVay or just the general media, that worry that made them go from minus 3 to minus 2.5 should be removed. But the market, like you, is not convinced Stafford's back. I think that's pretty telling.
Yeah. If it stays at 2.5, the Texans might be a teaser piece for me. 2.5 to 8.5, and find a dance partner for that. But I don't want a piece of the Rams here in week number 1. Okay, let's get to the quarterback stuff with the Saints. So Kellen Moore, who might be the best quarterback on that Saints roster, the head coach
Today, yeah.
Today, Kellen Moore might be the best quarterback in that Saints locker room. He said no starter has been announced between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck. We do have odds, courtesy of FanDuel, on the starting quarterback week number 1 for the New Orleans Saints. Spencer Rattler, you want to guess, Mac?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at ESPN depth chart. He is the starter. I believe he started the first
Mm-hmm.
preseason game. I'm gonna guess he's similar to what Richardson was at minus 200, about 2/3 chance to be the starter.
Minus 210. Tyler
Very
Shuck is
close. Come on.
plus 168 for Tyler Shuck.
I was within like a 0.5%. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
65.5% or so
You got to make the bet right now. What are you betting?
on another team. I would. Man, it's so much easier when this is the thing. This is like we're removing the glass or pulling back the curtain on sports betting media. For me to say Spencer Rattler's the better bet, 2/3 of the time people would be like, "Oh, that was a good idea Mackenzie had," and 1/3 of the time it's gonna feel like. But I think the odds, like just to be more right more often, is generally a sharp way to go if you're just trying to get clicks. But I do think the odds are. I think it's close to 50-50. I think if I had to bet with my own money, it'd be Tyler Shuck.
I would agree. I just feel like if you are a first-year head coach, right, do you want to go with the guy that was thrust into the role last year and was, awful and lost football games for them and had the turnovers? Or do you want to go with the unknown, the lottery ticket, the scratch-off of Tyler Shuck, the rookie that you drafted, thinking that, hey, maybe he winds up being a serviceable quarterback and maybe we don't have to draft a quarterback at the top of the draft next year? Or
Yeah.
you just throw Rattler out there and you say, hey, Tyler Shuck's not ready. He's a developmental guy, and we're still going to wind up drafting a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick.
I think you I think it's harder to go with the number 1 overall pick at a quarterback if you haven't played Tyler Shuck enough. I think
I
playing
agree.
him now gives you the uh, wiggle room to say, all right, we know this isn't the quarterback and we know this isn't the quarterback. Spencer Rattler didn't have much to work with. Tyler Shuck, think about it. His over under is 5.5. That's not that different from Jaden Daniels last year, who was 6.5, ended up winning 10 plus games in a playoff game. Like, there's just so much more upside that I could see with any rookie quarterback than someone that we've seen. And he was a higher draft pick in general. There's nothing that
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler did that said, okay, I'm not a 6th round pick. I'm actually something else. Um, yeah. So I think unless you're intentionally trying to lose, then I think you go with the higher upside in the rookie.
Well, speaking of the number 1 overall pick, Arch Manning, was at a press conference yesterday for Texas, and he basically said what my grandfather said, Archie Manning, about me not going into the NFL draft. I don't know where he got that from. That's not true. Like, I'm going to evaluate at the end of the season. I believe Archie, by the way. And in case you don't know what I'm talking about, well, Archie came out and said that his grandson, Arch, is not going to go to the NFL draft next year, that he's going to go back to Texas. That's not the first time I've heard that, Mackenzie. I've talked to college football analysts and people around Texas that firmly believe that Arch Manning's going to be back after this season. Like, Arch Manning's going to come back for another year. So that's why it didn't surprise me when Archie said that, and it shocked everybody else. And when that came out, Arch Manning went from the overwhelming favorite to be drafted number 1 overall to somewhere around like the plus 900 range. Well, now Archie speaks for himself and says, I don't know. And the odds moved now. Arch is now plus 550 to be the number 1 overall pick. He is the 4th favorite. It's Garrett Nussmeier is the favorite, plus 370, quarterback of LSU. Cade Klubnik, plus 410, quarterback of Clemson. Lenoris Sellers, plus 410, quarterback at South Carolina. And then Arch Manning. Lenoris Sellers is very interesting because he kind of reminds me of Anthony Richardson. Like, he is a freakish athlete. The comparison for Lenoris Sellers is Cam Newton. From every college person that you will speak to, they say he is a better version of Cam Newton. Like, that's how good this kid is. And South Carolina could have a special year this year. Lenoris Sellers could be a dark horse Heisman candidate. He might wind up being the number 1 overall pick in the draft. I still maintain that Garrett Nussmeier is going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft because, well, his father's the offensive coordinator for the New Orleans Saints. So if the Saints have the number 1 overall pick, I think Doug Nussmeier is going to want to draft his son in Garrett Nussmeier and coach him. So that's
I'm
where
telling
I'm going
you,
with this.
I've seen this kid since he was 1-2 years old. This guy has what it takes.
I know what this kid's capable of. I've seen him. I've seen him mature.
If I'm Arch Manning, isn't college just like more exciting? Like, you're a millionaire. Everyone you know is a billionaire.
Exactly. With
it's just
NIL,
better to be in college.
Yes, with NIL now, and especially at a program like Texas and the amount of money that Arch is making, like, he can pick and choose who he wants to play for. If the Saints have the number 1 overall pick and he doesn't want to play for the New Orleans Saints, well, then he's just going to stay at Texas and just make more money than he would in his rookie year, and then come out in the next year where he's probably going to be the quarterback of, I don't know, not the Giants, because I think Jackson Dart's great, but maybe he's the quarterback of the Jets or something. Who knows?
Could easily be. And we know that the Mannings are very savvy. They pulled not in San Diego move, and they ended up going to a much more prominent franchise and won 2 Super Bowls. Do you think there's any nostalgia factor with the original Archie Manning in New Orleans? I mean, he didn't win anything, and he wouldn't have been remembered in any way if it wasn't for Peyton Manning. Yeah, I don't really see it either. I see wait your time. Wait till a real franchise can pick you up.
Yep, not happening. All right, let's get into some Major League Baseball. A big night for subscribers on BetterDay.com. Mackenzie 5-0 last night in Major League Baseball. I tweeted something out last night. You guys can follow along at Scott's On Air. It was I thought it was clever. I said some would call this a better night. I'll hold for the applause. But the five plays that we gave out, and by the way, by signing up to be a subscriber at BetterDay.com, it's free. You get access to a daily newsletter that gets emailed to you the picks from the podcast are in that newsletter. And in that newsletter, we had picks that we gave out, like the Nerfy in Houston and Detroit, which was a winner. The Nerfy in the A's and the Twins game, which was a winner. The Cincinnati Reds on the money line, which was a winner. And the Padres minus a 1.5, which was a winner. And then gave out the Yankees money line on betterday.com, and that was a winner as well. 5-0 last night. And by becoming a member, you not only get the newsletter, but you also have access to the picks page up on the website, which is, again, free, but it's only for the subscribers. So subscribe, and then you'll have access to the picks page, and then just all the research articles that we have. Mac, you have a great article up there on Week 1 NFL trends, and plenty more to come up on betterday.com. So let's make today a better day, and let's win again. But let's recap what we had last night. Yankees, franchise record for the second time this season. 9 home runs. Giancarlo Stanton hit 2. Cody Bellinger hit 2. Aaron Judge hit his 40th of the season. The Yankees went back to back to back in the first inning. Judge, Bellinger, and Stanton. It was the second time they've done that this season, or the third time they've done that this season. It's unbelievable. The Stanton, Bellinger, and Caballero, who actually homered as well, became the second Yankee trio with multiple homers in the same game in franchise history. And the Yankees became the first team in baseball history with multiple 9 home run games in a single season. Just an insane stats.
They kind of got unlucky. If you told me someone had 16 hits, 5 walks, and 9 home runs, that should add up to more than 13. They definitely have a way. I mean, this is why all the fan graphs and all the different models say that they should be a lot better than the record and a lot better than the Red Sox, for example, who are close to them, or even better than the Blue Jays, who are ahead of them. It's because all their hits this year seem to have come in bunches, just like today, just like when they scored 25 runs against the Orioles or whatever. Yeah. I kind of agree with that analysis that more often than not, it is going to regress to the mean. They're better than their record currently.
And what's amazing is, like, the Yankees have just done a great job against the Rays this year. Like, that's what's been keeping them afloat. But also, like, just playing in that stadium, that is their spring training site. Okay?
Right.
The Yankees' spring training site is where Tampa plays their games. Earlier this season, there was a 4-game series where the Yankees won 3 out of the 4 games, and the one game that they lost, they scored 8 runs in that game. So they're doing, and then you look at what happened here last night. So the Yankees are doing just fine playing in that ballpark, which, by the way, is almost the same exact dimensions as Yankee Stadium. I was watching the broadcast last night, and Michael Kay did a great job of explaining this. So it was built as a replica of Yankee Stadium with the dimensions, right? Because it's the Yankee spring training site. However, the 314 down in right field, it's not exactly the same 314 that it is in Yankee Stadium. It's actually a little bit shorter, maybe like a foot or 2 shorter. Same thing with the center field wall, because the walls are a little bit shorter. The distance is a little, there's also a little bit of a maybe 1 to 2 foot difference. So it is interesting that, the Yankees' comfortability in that ballpark, the dimensions of that ballpark. And I think when you look at guys, like when you're handicapping this, like this is what you have to do here. And so looking at this game, let's look at the game tonight, okay? Cam Schlittler, Drew Rasmussen on the mound, Yankees at the Rays. What you want to look for is look at Yankee players, the batters. Look at their splits. And don't consider this to be a road game.
Right.
So when you look at their splits, like let's say we'll look at, Cody Bellinger, who this is something that I thought was just great job by the broadcast bringing this up. Oh, also great job by us, because earlier before the season started on a different podcast, one of the bets that was given out was Cody Bellinger over 22.5 home runs. So, well, he went over that number. But this was an incredible stat. If you look at Cody Bellinger's splits, now he had the 2 home runs last night. Those 2 home runs last night gave him, now on the season, 6 home runs on the road. Okay? Well, actually, no, it's 8 home runs now on the road. 8 home runs on the road, 16 homers at home in Yankee Stadium. So if you're looking at Cody Bellinger last night and you're saying, do I want to do total bases? Do I want to do the anytime home run prop? Well, he's got 16 homers at home and only 6 on the road. His home road splits are terrible. But in Tampa, Mackenzie, you have to treat that like he's playing at home because it's the same ballpark dimensions. And so you look at the 16 home runs that he's hit at Yankee Stadium. Now you add the 2 that he hit last night in Tampa. Essentially, he's hit 18 home runs, in those dimensions of a ballpark. Does that make sense?
Totally. I mean, 18-4. That's a huge variance. This is like some of those pitchers that we talk about that are just a one-sided team. And I think Cody Bellinger might be the best example of it. But the entire Yankee squad, pretty average on the road and maybe one of the better home teams, at least offensively, that we've seen this year.
So you treat the Tampa games like it's a Yankee home game for your handicapping.
Also, good call by you on another podcast. You're like, Tampa Bay has all these road games, and they're not much of a home court advantage when they do come back. They have fallen off as predicted by Scott Seinberg.
There you go. Yesterday, the Brewers and Cubs played a doubleheader, and the Cubbies took them both, Mackenzie, so they gain a little bit of ground on the Brewers. The lead is now 7 in the National League Central. My goodness.
What happened?
Tigers with a 1-0 win in 10 innings over the Astros. Great pitchers duel there between Hunter Brown and Tarek Skubal. Blue Jays beat up on the Pirates 7-3. Scherzer picked up the win in that one. Mets get a strong performance from David Peterson as they beat the Nationals 8-1. Juan Soto homered in that game. Phillies win again, beating the Mariners 6-4. And surprise, surprise, Joan Duran got the save at the end of that game. The Phillies are just machines right now. It's just incredible. But let's take a look at today's schedule. We have a couple
Our division
of
bet's
games.
looking pretty good. NL East looking pretty good at -110. We gave out a couple weeks ago.
Oh, yeah. Let's take a look at today's schedule. You got the Blue Jays at the Pirates. Chris Bassett on the mound for the Blue Jays. Johan Oviedo for the Pirates. Now, Bassett's a guy who's got terrible home road splits. At home this year, he's very comfortable pitching in Toronto. Chris Bassett's got a 2.73 ERA. On the road, a 6.39 ERA. Blue Jays are heavily favored because the Pirates stink, but I would lean towards an over here in this game. Mariners are at the Phillies. Luis Castillo on the mound for the Mariners. Jesus Luzardo for Philadelphia. Astros at the Tigers. Framber Valdez for Houston. Charlie Morton for Detroit. The Guardians are at the Diamondbacks. Brandon Pfaadt for Arizona. And making his debut, Parker Messick for the Cleveland Guardians. And when it comes to guys making their debuts, they either pitch a gem or get rocked. It's one or the other. You're not going to get 6 innings and 3 runs. It's going to be 2 innings and 6 runs, or 6 innings and 1 run. It seems to go that way. Elsewhere,
so we do the run line, you think? High variance game, you do the run line?
I'm not touching Arizona with your money. No. Might go over. Just bet the over in that game. Cardinals are at the Marlins. Adrian Palante for the Cardinals. Sandy Alcantara for Miami. Mets are at the Nationals. Kodai Senga for the Mets. Brad Lord for D.C. White Sox at the Braves. Martin Perez for the White Sox. And Hayden Waltrip for the Braves. Yankees and Rays, as we mentioned. Cam Schlittler and Drew Rasmussen. A's are at the Twins. J.T. Ginn for the A's. Bailey O'Bear for the Twins. Rangers haven't announced the pitcher just yet. Noah Cameron will start for the Royals, though. Brewers and Cubs do it again. Jacob Mizorowski back on the mound for the Brewers, and Colin Ray goes for Chicago. Milwaukee, a -115 favorite with Mizorowski on the mound. Shohei Ohtani back on the mound for the Dodgers in Colorado against the Rockies. Tanner Gordon goes for the Rockies, and the Dodgers are -310. Now, Ohtani did pitch into the 5th, his last time out, so I think a Dodgers first 5 bet would work here because I do think Ohtani goes the full 5 innings. Nick Martinez starts for the Reds in Anaheim against the Angels, and Yusei Kikuchi, and the Giants are at the Padres, where it'll be Landon Raup for the Giants and JP Sears getting the start for the Padres. I want to thank you guys again for just tuning in to this podcast. We do it for you, so we appreciate the support. Don't forget to subscribe to the pod wherever you get your pods from. We're on Apple, we're on Spotify, iHeart, Amazon, if you happen to use any of those. You can hit us up on Twitter. I'm at Scott's On Air. Mackenzie is at Mackin Rivers. And check out betterday.com. Subscribe. It's free right now, and you can become a paid member. You'll get, not paid member, a free member. And you'll get the daily newsletter emailed right to your inbox every single morning, and the access to all the picks on the website as well.
But you will be a paid member because you went 5-0. You'll go 5-0 some of these days, and you'll be paid. You will get paid.
Exactly. For McKinsey Rivers, I'm Scott Seidenberg, hoping you make today and every day a better day.
This Labor Day at Lowe's, shop member-only doorbuster deals for a limited time. Save $50 on an Ego string trimmer, now $169. Plus, get 50% off select Holland pavers. Not a rewards member? Sign up for free today. But hurry, Labor Day doorbuster deals won't last long. Lowe's, we help, you save. Valid through 9/1 while supplies last. Program subject to terms and conditions. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.